Hai guys, sebentar ya. Boleh minta nama speakers itu? Sama motionnya apa ya yang di sini?
Ini motionnya this house supports cancel culture. Untuk Departemen Teknik Elektro, urutan speaker saya ini.
Boleh dikirim chat nggak? Biar gampang. Oh itu dia, oke.
Oke.
Reply-nya siapa?
Reply-nya Faza, Novel Faza.
Satu lagi. DTE itu apa? Pro apa?
DTE itu kontra.
Oke, sebentar.
Oh ya, untuk POI dari kedua tim setuju ingin lewat chat aja atau lewat on mic. Bagaimana tim elektro dan metal?
On mic aja biar kayak debat asli.
Oke.
On mic juga setuju.
Oke, sebentar.
Jadi on mic ya.
Udah pada siap semua kan speakersnya? Yaudah yuk, boleh mulai. Elo ada yang harus dibacain?
Oke. Sebentar ya. Good evening and welcome to the first preliminary round of OIM FTUI's debate competition. My name is Raihan and I will be the chairman for this round. And Cleo will be the timekeeper for this round. For this round of the debate, the motion is this house supports cancel culture. From the government team, we have Departemen Teknik Metal and Metallurgy with Mr. Fatih as the first speaker, Mrs. Hansa as the second speaker, and Mr. Irfa as the third speaker. And lastly, Mrs. Hansa as the reply speaker. From the opposition team, we have Departemen Elektro with Mr. Faza as the first speaker, Mr. Gilfran as the second speaker, and Mrs. Kintara as the reply speaker. The rules of the debates are: 1. Each substantive speaker will deliver their speech for 7 minutes and 20 seconds. 2. Reply speakers will deliver their speech for 4 minutes and 20 seconds. 3. On substantive speakers, we will send a chat via Zoom. Once on the first minute, indicating that POIs are allowed. On the 6th minute, to indicate POIs are no longer allowed. On the 7th minute and multiple times on 7 minutes and 20 seconds to indicate that the speaker has to end their speech. On reply speech, we will send a chat via Zoom once on the first minute, on the 3rd minute, on the 4th minute, and multiple times on 4 minutes and 20 seconds. And 5, no POIs are allowed in reply speakers. Without further ado, let's start the debate. I call upon the first speaker from the government team, Mr. Fatih.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to say our current situation or our status quo, which is cancel culture, is becoming increasingly common without any basic guideline, which means a trivial mistake, a mistake that is not proven, that is without basic evidence, can spiral out of control because it doesn't have a rule. And I would like to start with the definition of cancel culture. Cancel culture is when someone is pointing out and calling out someone's horrible conduct that could harm society in regards on an online public space such as social media platform. The urgency of this motion is many good things happen because of cancel culture. And we also need a basic guideline so that things may not go haywire and spiraling out of control like I said before. The future impact of this motion with supporting cancel culture, it will create a safer social environment and making social media a platform where everyone could learn and do better from their mistakes. And also, the effect of this motion are people will become more mindful of their attitudes. What we the government team would like to limit is what we cancel in this scenario, in this case, is the person that is hurting and doing damage to other that will leave a huge impact on people and society. And we don't support canceling someone over trivial things. The huge impact, for example, is we are trying to cancel KKK, homophobic people, racism, and child predator. And what we are not trying to cancel is, for example, a case of an Korean idol smoking that from years ago. And our mechanism is that we would like to implement cyber etiquette by educating and raising awareness so that people will have evidence before pointing out someone else or canceling them. And people won't just point fingers without any basic evidence, like I said before. And the second one is we would like to provide a way to integrate the person that is canceled back to society. For example, we will give them, we will provide them with a hotline and for the case of where it's more gray than where it's not been clear yet, we would like to give them a platform for them to find the middle ground, for them to say their case and the point of view from and the case from their point of view. And our argument for this case is by supporting cancel culture, we are raising social awareness of the thing that we are trying to cancel. For example, we are pointing out someone's mistake, we are exposing horrible people. And we are also trying to make him or her reflect on their behavior. And we would also and we'll also like to point out that why cancel culture is a humane thing, and that will be defined by my second speaker of the government team. About the raising social awareness, like I stated before, we are trying to expose horrible person, horrible company, horrible groups of their horrible conduct so that the society knows what's the truth and the society can learn and do better from their mistakes and not repeating that pattern again, that mistakes again. And we are trying to make him reflect on their behavior, on what's wrong with what they did and how to fix that and stuff like that. Also, social medias are providing people a platform to make mistakes so that it will create a safer environment for them and people won't be afraid to make mistakes and learn from it and be a better person in general or a better company or groups. So if I may simplify, our argument for this case is we want to create a safer social environment, and we would also like to raise social awareness. And we would like for the person to reflect on their behavior, on their mistakes, so that they could become a better person in the future. And why we think cancel culture is humane. Yeah, that is our argument.
Okay, the first speaker from the government team spent 6 minutes and 27 seconds.
Okay. Next, I call upon the first speaker from the opposition team, which is Mr. Faza. Mr. Faza.
Oh yeah, okay. My name is Muhammad Noval Faza, and I'm here as the first speaker of the opposition team, or I am the leader of the opposition team. And the motion is this house supports cancel culture. We as the opposition team do not support cancel culture. We believe that cancel culture will actually brings more harm than good to the people that wants to be punished. So we would like to actually clarify some arguments, because there's actually contradicting arguments that have given by the first speaker of the government team. So basic cancel culture is actually correcting someone's mistake online. That's their definition. And then they're giving example of KKK. Now, I was wondering, how could someone cancel culture KKK? Because KKK only exists like in the year 1800s and before the modern civilization of America. Cancel culture only happens to modern people that has social media. So because KKK has already been abolished, KKK cannot be an example of cancel culture. But if we see reality, cancel culture is actually happening to celebrities or people that have done immoral things, and then because there are no legal laws that regulates that, people want to punish them. And then secondly, about the rebuttal about that, the government team said that the cancel culture is actually humane, and we will act when we will like to speak about that. So firstly, because I'm the first speaker of the opposition team, I'm going to rebut the statements and then give general things on why it's actually wrong, why cancel culture is actually wrong. And then our second speaker is going to talk about the long term of what will happen if cancel culture still happens. And then he also going to rebut some statements. And then our third speaker is going to talk about our summarization and then give another rebuttal. Okay, so the first one, why is cancel culture actually happening? So we see because there are things that are immoral but not regulated by law. People on the social media wanted to punish them. They want to make them have a deterrent effect on that. For example, celebrities, when they do something wrong or some things they think that is wrong. Even though the first speaker has already said that it's actually for people who damage other. Okay, we'll follow that. So firstly, if we see what really happens in the world of cancel culture, people want to punish them. They want to make deterrent effect, right? But people online, there isn't any law that regulates how they punish people using cancel culture. And even there is, for example, like Indonesian regulation of ITE, it's not effective. So people cannot punish someone online because it's not effective. Do you know why government use rules to regulate their punishments? Because punishment has to have limit. When you implement cancel culture doesn't have limit. So people might want to criticize them. Oh, what you're doing is bad. Don't do it. And to other spectrum that he said, oh, bad word, curse word. When they use curse words to warn someone to say that they're wrong, it is not ethical. And that leads to our second arguments that cancel culture actually leads to cyberbullying. Why cyberbullying is bad? Because what's the purpose of cancel culture first? The purpose of cancel culture is actually one to fix their attitude. Like that's what the first government team said. From learning from their mistake and mindful of attitude online. But actually, what people do, they don't use the correct manner to correct someone's attitude. They're using bad words online. That's what actually happening on social media such as Twitter and Facebook. They're not using the correct manner, and therefore it's not actually going to fix their attitude. They're actually only going to hurt their feelings. They're going to have bad mental health, and even though their consequences may lead to depression. This is why cancel culture is actually not effective and actually really bad for the, and actually we have bad consequences. Even though if we see there's actually people, that cancel culture only happens online, right? But actually there are people who knows where's the celebrity, for example, the celebrity's house, and they harass them offline. And that's how bad cancel culture can be. So that's two reasons why we as the government does believe that cancel culture is actually wrong and it will bring more harms than good. And the third, okay, your purpose is to want to punish someone, want to correct someone's attitude. We think that do not use people on social media to correct attitude, but use the government. The government should be the one who creates regulation. They want to create regulation to punish someone. Because of that, because government has rules, and the rules are actually regulated, because when something is regulated, they will not go out of limit. And other things, for argument, there are also, we know when when celebrities do something wrong, there's also a particular group of people, he or her fans, that will still supports them, even though they do some things, the majority of things is wrong. Because of that, the celebrity that has done that cancel culture targeted to, he actually don't listen to people who corrects him, who criticize him. He don't want to listen to hate speech. That's because cancel culture used the wrong manner, and that's why, and the people will categorize this as hate speech. That's why they don't. It's not effective, because they will think it's hate speech, and they will only close their ears like this. That's not effective. And then we can see. I'll give an example of cancel culture. For example, there's a celebrity named Nikita Dragu who have a party in the pandemic era of COVID-19. We know that this is not wrong. People think it's wrong, but people doing cancel culture on her. People harass them online. People do cyberbullying on them online, because there's no regulation. Remember, cancel culture has no regulation, so people do whatever they want online, so that Nikita Dragu can feel bad about herself, even though the manners is wrong. And because of that, we think that actually the ones who actually have to punish Nikita Dragu is not the people on social media, it's not cancel culture, it's actually the government themselves. And then if you say, okay, what's the punishment that's implemented? The punishment is not a material punishment, because, for example, if celebrity do something bad and they punish by paying fine or by going to jail, they can get that by easily because they're rich, and because jail is not that long. But you want to implement social punishment to that celebrity who does the wrong thing. So, for example, in Gresik, in a city named Gresik, Indonesia, they implement a law for people who do not obey the medical protocol about the COVID protocol, so that they have to dig the grave of someone. Okay, so that's all. Thank you.
Okay, the first speaker from the opposition team spent 7 minutes 24 seconds.
Okay, then we'll continue. I call upon the second speaker from the government team, which is Mrs. Hansa.
Thank you for the opportunity, everyone. First of all, first speaker of the opposition team, you definitely spoke well, but there's some very disturbing lack of knowledge that you have regarding a few things that I note in your speech. one of them is that jumps out at me is about the KKK. You said the KKK doesn't exist. The KKK exists, and let me give you some example. There's a KKK rally in Virginia, America, in the 9th of July in 2017. The most recent one is in Ohio, in Dayton, Ohio, on the 26th of May 2019. How can you say that the KKK doesn't exist when this rally still exists and there's harm done to the people around those rallies? That's one of the things that irks me. Moving on to the things that said. One of you, the proposition team said few things. First of all, they in regards to what we've been saying, they say the cancel culture is they want to punish wrong things. It's not effective. It's not ethical. It is cyberbullying, and that government should create regulations. This is a case. I think first speaker. I'm sorry, but I don't think you actually listens well to my first speaker, because this has already been confronted. There should be no questions about these things. Because there is, let me clear things out. First of all, you said that cancel culture punish wrong things. You give examples like curse words and the internet and things like that. But we've already cleared out that what we are canceling is only the big things, the things that affects a lot of people, the big things that affect society, things like child predators, like abusive people, racism. We're not like my first speaker said, we're not canceling small things. We're not canceling people smoking cigarettes in the internet. We're not doing that. The next thing you said, it's cyberbullying. It's not cyberbullying. Why? Why it's not cyberbullying? Because like I said, we're only canceling the wrong things that people done. I will talk about this more in the mechanisms. The next things about it's not ethical. Well, our mechanism that has already been touched a little bit by my first speaker. What we propose is creating some kind of cyber etiquette from the people, by the people that use the internet, that is in the internet and are interacting by the internet. Why we did that? We make this set of arbitrary rules to make sure that, like we've been stating, that it's only the big things that are canceled, and we're gonna define how we cancel. Like we should have like evidence. We should have a lot of things backing up. We should have like a set of evidence, like to point out that these things happen and this thing is wrong and this person is deserving to be canceled or to be I guess for their voice to not be heard anymore. The next thing we're going to propose is to humanize this cancel culture is middle grounds. What I mean by middle grounds is we're giving a place for the people who are being canceled to plead their case, to say their part, for them to say like what is it in my side. So then the people who are canceling them can hear their voice and then judge from their perspective. Like, this is what happens to me. You've said that I've done this. What do you think? And so that it becomes like a check and balance thing, where then if the person is truly canceled, they are canceled for the right for the things that they actually do, and they're canceled in the right way. And this also prevents this, like you've said, like the small things from being canceled, like things like smoking, like maybe some people doing curse words in the internet and things like that. The second things, and you before you've heard about our mechanism, you've already said that you've already think that our mechanism is not effective. I say your mechanism is not effective. Why? Because you've said your mechanism essentially said that the government creates regulations. What has the government done to the cancel culture? What has the government done? Not the cancel culture. I mean, in enforcing the social graces in the internet. what they've done is feed the fire. Like when usually when the government, like for example, when the government gets involved, it usually involves, you know, some maybe public figures or something, like people in the government itself. And what is been done is it's only stirring up the pot, and it's just making things way muddier, way fishes, make more fishes, and we don't need that. Like where cancel culture is like now it's in a position, I guess, is when it's actually a good thing. Pulling the government into this will only muddy things up. And like I've said, it's supposed to be from the people for the people. Why are the government meddling in the people's affairs? In the internet, where it's free speech, everyone should say their part. Why then the government meddle in these affairs? Like I've said before, and I think that like I've said, like now what we're trying to do is clear. We're trying to we support cancel culture, and we're trying to humanize it so it could be implemented in the right way, in a safer way, and where it would, like my first speaker said, it will benefit the people in general. It will make people more safe. It will make this free space that is the internet or social media more safe for people in general, and that is why we here support cancel culture. And I implore you all to vote for this motion. Thank you very much.
Okay, the second speaker from the government team spent 6 minutes and 56 seconds.
Okay. Next one, I call upon the second speaker from the opposition team, which is Mr. Gilfran.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And my name is Gil, and I would like to rise to oppose the motions moved by the second speaker of the government team. Let me begin by going backwards to what she says. I am very offended by the manner that she herself says that why government shouldn't meddle in terms of any social and political cases like these. You should remember your job. You are the government. You are elected by the people to hold this office, and that is to govern. If you do not meddle in the middle of these kinds of circumstances, you aren't a government. You are not a government. Completely short-minded responses from the government team, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to follow up with what the second speaker of the government team says. She says that the government team should have proposed to follow up with accepting a cancel culture that is only by the limitations to clean up big things only. Well, cancel culture is not a big thing. It's a completely severe thing. You cannot be short-minded enough to just erase something's big. Everything that is small will go big. Are you going to let them grow? You said big things only. Small things matter, ladies and gentlemen. You are so subjective and so selective that you, by providing that kind of statement, does not hold any solutions at all. You are somehow trying to clear up any responsibilities that will be faced if you vote for that motion. You aren't. You have to govern. That is your responsibility, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to continue on with what she says about humanizing stuff in the middle grounds, that is to giving pills to the victims to plead their cases. Is this going to be everlasting? Are we going to just meddle around in this kind of case while in the same time we have other cases, other social, political, ideological cases like this? And this should be the priority that you are being proposing? Your sanction is again short-minded. It is not a solution completely. You are giving a completely ineffective solutions that is just going to waste time and let things grow again and again. I will give you an example. You may look at the former United States President Donald Trump. He is being harassed all the time, yet the Republicans are trying to give him comfort. The Republicans are trying to give him support. What does he have to say? He don't care. The victims have the tendency to not care about things that is happening around them because they have supporters. They have supporters, and that is a must. That is unescapable, ladies and gentlemen. It will only hurt the feelings of the victims. But again, after that, it's clear nothing happened, nothing changed. They will continue on with the same trajectory as they did. Furthermore, the victims tend not to care. They have their own businesses. They have their own supporters. And by making sure that you are going to provide solutions by just committing to do cancel culture doesn't mean that you are providing any solution at all. You are just supporting things that is going to be racked up higher and bigger, and then it will go on to something worse, and then you are being blamed at the end by governing things like that, ladies and gentlemen.
On that point, sir.
Please.
So maybe I should say something about that because what you're saying right now about how we don't take responsibility after this, how this solution doesn't have the effect for the long run, it is totally wrong because you yourself, your side of the team has never explained any mechanism. Thank you.
Okay, so the honorable speaker is challenging me by that statement. I will challenge you once again. I am not saying that you aren't governing. I'm saying that you are limiting circumstances so that you think that you could resolve the cases. For example, you are trying to get rid of those small cases while you are trying to explain that you are going to resolve these big cases. Is that your thinking? Is that a short-minded thinking, ladies and gentlemen? This will be effective only if you erase them all. You can't. You will have the circumstances already. That is mandatory. This is an exponential growth. We have so many people out there. We have so many people around the societies, and yet you are only care about things that is happening around us that is big. Is that a solution, ladies and gentlemen? Okay, I will continue on. The opposition team clearly stated that by supporting cancel culture, this only led to things that will happen worse around us. Okay, you are making exponential growth of social insecurities going up high. Okay, so cancel culture is basically punishment without regulation or any law. You can state whatever you want. You have the rights to state whatever you want, and your objective yet is to criticize, while at the same time you are criticizing something by blaming them, by harassing them. Is that moral? Further on, it leads to the cyberbullying, things that is happening all around us. And yet, if you support that kind of motion, you aren't governing things. You just want to get rid of something that is completely happening visually around us and think that you could resolve the case by providing any type of material or any type of environment for that kind of case. You can't. You are the government. You have to provide solutions. And let me say what we can bring to be the solution that is possible for this kind of case, and that is to regulate, to make the law of these kinds of things. And yet, if the government team tries to think that we are going to provide those old school solutions, right, like this, let me say this to you. We aren't giving solutions based on material things. We are not going to put those horrible person that is trying to do some cancel culture things to the jail or find them some money. No, we will give them social and intercultural exchanges so that they could understand the society around them, ladies and gentlemen. They have the right to have a better living. And if we do not govern things correctly as what we should have been, then you are not governing, you are short-minded, and yet you will have no responsibility or any stake of qualifications to lead the government. Furthermore, I would like to imply that punishment shouldn't be material but social. And again, in the end, we as the opposition team would like to state this one thing clear, that we completely oppose the motion and we would like this panel to vote for no, because this thing is completely immoral, yet the government cannot even think of a long-ranging, long-term solutions. That's it for me. Thank you very much.
Okay, the second speaker from the opposition team spent 7 minutes and 4 seconds.
Okay, thank you from the second speaker from the opposition team. Next, I call upon the third speaker from the government team, Mr. Irfa. Mrs. Irfa. Sorry.
Ladies and gentlemen, today I'd like to summarize about our debate today and explain why our team has actually have the stand in here and still won in the end of the day of this debate. Now, before moving on to my reinforcement and our summarization, I would like to give some of the rebuttal of the pessimistic side of the team, which is the opposition side of the team, because it's very, very, very invalid about their arguments. Now, let me come to our first rebuttal that is very, very controversial about how they're saying we don't have a mechanism. How about they're saying our mechanism is not viable enough and it is not going to do well in the long run. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the other side of the team has never explained well, they explain a mechanism, of course, but it is also not viable enough when you're talking about social problems. You don't regulate something when it's about social problems. Let's say we don't have this internet. Let's say we don't have social media. Do you regulate problems in social problems, for example, in people in the streets? Do you regulate that, ladies and gentlemen? You don't. And we're talking about cancel culture here, and cancel culture is in the internet, of course, internet in the social media. Well, internet is a free thing, ladies and gentlemen. We do not it's not like we can control everything in the internet because everyone can access the internet now.
Point of interest.
No,
Point of
thank you.
information, please.
No, thank you, please. Now, moving on about cancel culture, about you're saying that our mechanism is too small and our mechanism is small-minded and it is also subjective and is not going to go everlasting. Well, ladies and gentlemen, how are you going to say if your mechanism is in the same spot, how you're going to control the whole community? Because as you say before, the community is big and internet is free. How are you going to regulate that?
Point of
ladies and
information.
gentlemen? No, thank you. And then about this cancel culture, their mechanism, it's they're actually making a regulation of nothing because it's still as you say before by your first speaker, ITE is not effective. Then how about your regulation, ladies and gentlemen? That is a simply contradicting thing. Now,
Point of
moving
information,
on.
please.
No, thank you, please. I'm still not yet finished talking. And now, moving on, they also said a contradictive arguments about how this cancel culture, the victim of the cancelled culture, they don't care. But they also say that it will hurt their feeling. How it's going to hurt their feeling if they don't have any care about the world in the cancel culture. Now, ladies and gentlemen, moving on. I'm going
Point of
to make
information.
some. No, thank you. I'm going to move to our argument. How our argument on our mechanism is actually good. Now, we're making this statement that we're making a safe social media, a cancel culture, a humanized cancel culture. We're explaining a cancel culture that is acceptable for us, for the government to support, ladies and gentlemen. Now, moving on. How we define this cancel culture? Well, as you say before, this cancel culture is a big thing. You cannot just limit things like that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are trying to make cancel culture a good thing because basically cancel culture have so many impacts, so many good things. For example, we see that we canceled a child predator, we canceled the homophobic through their comments, we canceled people, we canceled institutions, and that is something good, ladies and gentlemen. That's therefore what is wrong with our cancel culture today is there's no regulation, there's no guidelines, not the government regulation as the opposition side of the team said, but a guideline. We need a guideline that start from ourselves, that is started from our education, back to the root, from our education, how we're going to teach society to do what they can to cancel someone with a cyber etiquette, with a good way to cancel someone, and that is for a big thing. Why we're pointing out a big thing? Because yeah, of course, big thing is important. We don't mess with trivial things. For example, K-pop idol, they smoked 12 years ago, or for example, they tweeted something like this 12 years ago. Ladies and gentlemen, we are making a point about this big cancel culture that is that is harmful to society. For example, homophobics and pedophilia and so on and so forth. The other side of the team, canceling our definition would be wrong, ladies and gentlemen. Now, moving on about our argument again, the urgency of us about the guidelines. We want this to be a safer social environment. We want to utilize social media to form a better society. Let me give you a question. Why are people so scared to make mistake? Why are people so scared to be cancelled? Because of that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are trying to make a social media a better place where people can make mistakes, learn from it, and then do better. We're making a social media a place, a cancel culture that is humanized, ladies and gentlemen, as my first and second speaker has already told you countless times. Now, moving on, how we're going to support it? We're going to support it by making a humanized cancel culture with specific guidelines, with concrete data, with cyber etiquette, and so on and so forth. And once we point out this person, once we point out this child predator, for example, then that's where the government have the role in it. But on the cancel culture itself, we're not making such regulation because, as you say, IT is not effective enough. And then with cyber etiquette that is rooted in our education, not by just simply government. No, it's rooted by our education, and through that we can share awareness to all parts of the community that anyone that can log into the internet can actually make a good etiquette, can actually have a good etiquette in the internet. We need that cyber etiquette in our education. And then we are also providing space and path for them to deprogram and integrate back to the society. We're not just pointing out them like, oh, you are bad, you are wrong, you should be banished from the society. No, ladies and gentlemen, we're providing them a space or a path where these people can actually, as my second speaker has said, we can actually fix their problem and then learn from it. And then that's why internet is such a good thing today. We know that, for example, the act of taking a perfumed hand lotion in body shop is actually a crime. It is actually it's actually a crime. People think that it's just a souvenir, you can take it freely, but with canceling culture and so on and so forth, you know that it is wrong. And that is what's good with Internet of Things. And now, with all this consideration, we think that cancel culture could be supported in the humanized way, and therefore, cancel culture, we support them. And without any further ado, we believe that our team still stand to this time. And thank you. We beg you to propose. Thank you.
Okay, the third speaker from the government team spent 7 minutes and 22 seconds.
Okay. Next, I call upon the third speaker from the opposition teams, Mrs. Andini.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Kintara Andini Hananto, and I'm the third speaker of the opposition group. And I will try firstly to review the points made by the third speakers of the government group. First, first we are talking about this cancel culture. Yes, but we are. I know why you are wanted to humanize it, but it's always in our opinion. It's always in our point that that's why we're making it in law so government can regulate. And then you said that internet is a free space is a big thing, and it doesn't really correlate with your point in in making safe spaces in social media, because first you already said that internet is a free thing, everyone can participate, and people from different background, different cultural exchanges could be participating. And that's why when you're making it a safe spaces by regulating in the law, I mean, in your point of view, it doesn't really necessarily effective. And then by regulating, it is but it is good, but it is I'm sorry. This is about you are selecting with the big problems only. Yes, it is good, but it is the rational thing to do. It's already been mentioned by my second speaker that the things can be happening small stuff, but if they don't really regulate, there could be even bigger problems. And then you already said it's okay to make mistakes. Okay, that's fine. It is completely okay to make mistakes, but in your point of view, in your way of doing things, it seems like you're scared to accept suggestion. You're avoiding challenges because you're making the space so small, only limited to big social problems, which is it's also a good thing to do, but it's only in small changes. The problem is so big. How you can only focus on on the big things when the small things you're completely ignoring. You're completely ignorant, ladies and gentlemen. The government team is completely ignorant about the social things happens around, especially in their own country that they are governed in. And then, and then I want to re-summarize the points made by my teammates. First thing first, there are no rules in cancel culture. It means it basically could be the borderline cyberbullying, and doing it. And with cancel culture, you could be doing it too much or too little, and it doesn't really give the same effect that expected. And it's basically useless. Like you're not receiving the same result every time. Then why are you doing it? And then second of all, I want to talk about cyberbullying. Cyberbullying, it could be said like why cancel culture is basically borderline cyberbullying, because first, with critics, you're with the intention of making these people to realize where their problem at, where their fault is. And with cancel culture, it's almost as like cyberbullying, because sometimes there are no regulations, so people can say whatever they want, and using bad words or without manners, it's not fixing the problem. It's destroying it could be destroying the mental health of the person getting canceled or get targeted. And it happened that there are case about this. Remember about Hana Kimura? She sadly choose to do suicide because people are canceling her online for the smallest things she did on the television, but people won't forgive that. And this is because the cancel culture are so inhumane, immoral, and there are no regulation about it. And then the third point made by my team is government should make new law adapting system from cancel culture, but with more structures. And because essentially people who do cancel culture, they want to see people that are canceled or targeted to be punished, essentially, right? And that's why we regulated them with more structures that are more of like critic-like. It's more effective, and the people who are getting canceled know what are their flaws is, and they can learn from that experience. And then the first things that brought by my team is cancel culture is not effective because it can be classified as hate speech. It's said by my first and second speaker that it can be ignored. People who are getting especially celebrities or people who are especially in these big because you are mentioning you are in bigger problems, they can just shut their ears. They cannot care about this, because there are still people who supports them. Even with you bring up the point of pedophilia or homophobic, there's still people who actually supports this idea. I mean, because like you said before, this is your point, that internet is a free space, and that's why it's not limiting the people who are interacting in this social media. And that's why I back to my third point, that why government should make new law adapting system for cancel culture with more critics like. And then from my and then with the fourth statement that I made, they have supporters like Donald Trump has been said before, or probably bigger celebrities, influencers. They have supporters who will still care about them and will still support them even though they did those bad things. And then finally, from our point for sorry, and then the last thing from our team is, and it should be the government who punish them in social terms, not in material, and not by the people who especially on social media who do the punishing, because it's not ethical, it's immoral, and that's why we as opposition team still believe that the motion is useless, and that's why we still support the cancel, and we should cancel the we should not be supported the cancel culture. Thanks for that's all for me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. The third speaker from the opposition team spent 7 minutes and 4 seconds.
Thank you for the speaker of the opposition teams. Next, I call upon the reply speaker from the opposition team, which is Mr. Faza.
So hello, good evening again, everyone. My name is Muhammad Nafal Faza, and I'm here as the reply speaker from the opposition team. And the motion still, this house supports cancel culture, and we as the opposition teams deny the motion, and we believe that cancel culture should not be there in the first place. So basically, I'm going to use the method of in this reply speech, I'm going to use the method of point of clashes, and to convince the adjudicator why we as the opposition team should win, because we have a lot of arguments here that have not been rebutted, and all of arguments from the government team has already been rebutted by us. But firstly, I would like to point out something that has been our arguments, that actually the third speaker of the government teams making things up. We didn't not talk about K-pop or something small. They defined that cancel culture is to damage others. We follow that. Have I said something about small things? No. We follow that definition. But still, I have already said about the effectiveness. I've already said about the deterrent effect, right? What already happens when people do cancel culture? But nevertheless, even if it's rape, even if it's small thing, even if you want something that's damaging, what's actually the effect of that cancel culture? I've already said it, that people will not fix their attitude because it actually hurts their feelings. And therefore they only get the press, and their attitude won't be fixed. That's the problem with cancel culture that I already gave in my first speech. And then there's other things that the third speaker also said about the ITE law from Indonesia is not working, and then she said about cyber etiquette. Well, that we already said that ITE law is not actually working, so that's basically also rebutting the cyber etiquette thing. That's basically not working. So there's a lot of our arguments that have not been rebutted, and the government team also adding arguments that we as the opposition team already said. For example, about government not doing anything. About what government not doing anything, so we also do cancel culture. Well, I've already said that government should do regulations. That's why I gave example in about the city in Gresik that government give social regulations about, but when people not doing health COVID protocol. That's why everything should be regulated by government. That's what our opposition team have said, and we already said that cancel culture is very bad because also the harassment. Have the government team talk about what happens if people do harassment? No, we already said about the people on social media. They can do offline harassment to them, to the people who they want to do cancel culture to, the targeted one. And then we already said that the punishment should not be a social punishment. This also has not been rebutted by the government team. We already said that government should also make punishment, and the punishment should also be a social punishment because the thing is a social problem. We've already said many arguments, and we also wonder why government team has not rebutted this argument. Does that mean they agree with this argument that we have gained about that cancel culture is too much because there's no regulation on cancel culture, about why ITE regulation is failing, and because that cancel culture is also basically cyberbullying? That's all what I say. That's why you as adjudicator should know that we as the opposition team should win, because all of our argument has not been rebutted. Thank you.
Thank you from the reply speaker from the opposition teams. Next, I call upon the reply speaker from the government team, which is Mrs. Hansa.
Thank you for the opportunities. The reply speaker of the opposition team said that there's no part of their argument that has been rebutted, which shows to me that they did not listen well. First, let's start. While saying this, I'm going to also summarize with a point of clash where our arguments clash. First of all, we're talking about definition. What I catch about the opposition team is saying that that cancel culture is essentially bullying. And they also criticize our definition. Like we only say that it's been called out. Cancel culture is calling out people. Well, when we define things, we already said that that cancel culture is calling out people, and then we followed by saying that we're only canceling out big things. And that brings to the next point that I want to talk about their mechanism. They said that their mechanism, the mechanism they propose is that they want to the government to regulate, like they make a certain law that has a set of punishment, that is a set of rules to regulate these type of things, like conduct in the internet. This contradicts their point when they say that they also wanna regulate small things, because if you want to regulate small things, why blow things up by bringing the government in? Instead, like we've been saying, our mechanism is a better and a separate way, because like we've been saying countless times, again and again, what we're doing is making cyber etiquette, and the opposition seems that it's basically the same as regulation by the government. And again, I will say this, but that is not true. It's not the same. Why? Because when it's a law made by the government, it's a law made by the government. While cyber etiquette is, we're not saying that we're gonna write this down, we're gonna post it in the forum so that all people can see. No, what we're trying to do is cyber etiquette is we're trying to make people familiarize people, like easing people in, by showing them how to conduct in the internet. We're not giving like I've said, a set of rules and the walls that it can read. We're making them. We're trying to make internalize those etiquette to the people, so they don't need to think like this is the rules or something. It's just what they do. It's just what the right thing to do. Next point is impact. What I've been getting is I'm not seeing any talk about future impact from the opposition team. What they're saying is impact of the president, which is mental health. They say that the one canceled will be hurt, and they will have a mental health issue and things like that, which has already been rebutted and has been torn down by our mechanism that we're saying that we're gonna give them that we're only canceling big things, and we're gonna give them middle grounds where they can speak and they can have their words out, get their arguments heard, and then the people who are listening can then make their own opinion on how is this going to be. Are we going to cancel this person for real or not? And then I can say restated the verdict, so we say. And that's basically the summary of what we're saying. We're already giving a mechanism that is healthy, that is, as has been said again and again by our side. We're trying to make social media a safe place for people to be talking, to be.
Time's up.
That is all I have to say, and I implore you to vote for the motion today. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you from the reply speaker from the government team. That's it. That is the end of the debate. Please wait for the verbal adjudication. Debaters are allowed to turn off the camera and microphone. Thank you.
Ya, thank you guys. Sebentar ya.
It's not a silent round.
Mulai aja ya. Semuanya ada di sini nggak? Is everyone here? Okay. At least ada perwakilannya. Okay, thank you everyone for the debate. I'll be splitting my verbal adjudication into three different parts: general comments, decision, and reasoning behind the decision. First of all, general comments. I think for general comments, one of the most evident things within both themes is signposting. There needs to be better signposting within the debate for both themes to make it easier to follow where you are in the debate, what you're talking about, and what you're trying to rebut, what you're trying to tackle. While there was some effort coming from both sides, it was still quite messy, and therefore it was very easy to miss certain arguments or to miss important points. It all kind of felt a bit jumbled, making the debate a bit blurry because it wasn't clear like where you were in the speech and like what you were trying to tackle from the opposing side. So generally there needs just to be better signposting, better divisions within the arguments, and so on. A second general comment is about analysis. I felt like the analysis within the debate was lacking with both themes. A lot of your arguments took me from point A to point B with really explaining why it will work or why it will be more effective than the alternative. You give a solution, you give this proposed benefit, but you don't really explain how we're going to receive that benefit. You just say the benefit and expect that the adjudicator will take it at face value. That's not how debates work. You need to explain as well why that benefit will happen in the first place. Who will implement this benefit? Why is this benefit really here to make the debate generally more believable? Because without proper analysis, the debate is just an endless tug of war with government saying A and opposition saying B. But why is A or B more believable than the opposite? We don't really know. It's just this tug of war, and it makes it difficult for you to have a proper clash and so on. It makes it difficult to know whose arguments are really more believable when it's all just mainly the same few lines taken back and forth. Yeah. The next general comment will just be realism. Both themes play in a very idealistic situation for their cases. They don't really engage in the opposition's best case or try to portray why even in their worst case is their solution still better. An example of you trying to play in this best case worst case scenario will be, for example, for government. You try to defend why even if cancel culture sometimes has harassing tendencies, is it still better than letting the government handle things? Or for opposition, why even if the government, though their previous track record might not be that splendid, it's still better than letting cancel culture roam. You need to engage that. Okay, sometimes your stance isn't always perfect, but why is, even when it's not perfect, is it still better than anything that the opposing side can give? That is important for you to bring layers into debate, for you to make things just clearer. Otherwise, it's just, again, a bunch of superficial statements just saying the best case scenario. There's no holistic picture on which side is better, because when you just constantly restate the best case, it's difficult for you to really know which one is really better, because everyone's best case is, well, the best thing possible. Okay, but now moving on from the general comments, I give the decision, the winning, to the opposition side of the House with the reasoning as follows. Throughout this debate, I saw one big point of clash, and that's just in general about effectivity. I think both themes generally agreed, and throughout the debate, the main clash, the only clash within the debate, was about that what they agreed there needs to be a level of control in social media. The question becomes, which side is able to do so more effectively? Government claims that they would like to get rid of all the bad in the internet with making cancel culture more humane, and they ignore small trivial issues and focus on bigger problems, giving people space to defend themselves, etc., etc. And while on the other side of the House, opposition says that they like to use the government as the control mechanism. Opposition says that the government will create rules and regulations, and the consequences won't be financial or time in prison, rather it'll be rehabilitative, with making people actually engage with the communities they offend, and so on and so forth. Opposition also chooses to tackle the smaller stuff, even though it's not really clear what the smaller stuff is. There wasn't really any definition. It's just talking about small stuff, big stuff. What is the small stuff? What is the big stuff? Make it clearer. But the government doesn't really give a counter mechanism to handle those smaller issues. They just push them really to the side, and they say that they'd rather focus on the bigger picture, which is that's a totally valid argument. But you need to make clear in the first place what is small and what is big, because otherwise, I'm still prone to buying the opposition side of argument. They say that the small things are also important. You need to make it clear what do you mean by small stuff and big stuff. But generally, why do I give the win to the opposition side of the House? It's because, first of all, I feel like they have a clearer and more believable control mechanism. While the government did try to rebut this by pointing out that previous laws aren't necessarily effective, like UITE, it's generally not effective. I think that's a very realistic thing. However, the opposition side of the House argument is still more believable because at least there is still a figure that has the capacity to control the situation. Government brings out this idea of a humane cancel culture, of social etiquette, but I find that hard to believe that that will happen overnight. You still need this sort of like overarching control mechanism. You need this figure that is able to control society. Who can create that change if not the government? You have to bring an alternative actor that can create these big level changes, because the humane cancel culture that you try to portray is, I think, clearly not how it always is in everyday situations. In everyday situations, it still leads to harassment and so on and so forth. That's the realistic way. That's really what happens a lot in our everyday lives. So why will this so-called humane cancel culture happen? Again, like I said before about the analysis part, you need to explain to me why this will happen, how this will happen, and not just that this will happen. That needs to be clearer. And because of that, I give the winning to the opposition side of the House. Another reason I give it to the opposition side of the House, because I felt like there still was this unrebutted argument when the opposition side of the House brought out the fact that a lot of people just ignored the fact that they're canceled. That, for example, that like they said, when Donald Trump gets canceled, he ignores it because he still has a horde of supporters. Again, he still has a horde of supporters, because again, cancel culture, the mechanism that the government gives isn't really, it lacks concreteness. It lacks a sufficient implementation that ensures that it will be effective. While because you don't have the a governing body or a person overseeing the implementation of it all. It all just becomes ideas and whatnot, because I don't think it's very believable at all. Or even if it is believable, I don't think it was ever stated by the government side of the House that maybe you want netizens to control themselves. Maybe you think that is totally possible, but that wasn't explained, and it seems to me like right now that's highly unlikely. And yeah, that just needs to be clearer. To have all your benefits, you need to explain more about why this will happen in the first place. And that's why I give the winning to the opposition side of the House. If you guys have any questions, you can contact me after the debate. Thank you. You can contact my line. I'll type my line ID. Thank you guys. Semangat. Thank you guys.
Thank you so much, Kak.
Bye-bye. Thank you ya.
Thank you.
Semangat all.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all. Thank you all.
Okay, thank you.
You all can go back to the main room now.